What is going on, everybody? My name is Lorenzo and this is Crypto with Lorenzo. Welcome back to today's video where I have a special video for you. You are going to be able to look at the Ask Me Anything that I have done with the founder of Nerian Network, Nerian Protocol, Nerian Notes, whatever you want to call them. We have done a video on the channel before, and this is the video, the Ask Me Anything that we have went to do, and I want to bring it to you. Let me know down in the comments, of course, what you think about this project. Watch the Ask Me Anything until the end. If you have any further questions, let me know down in the comments what are these questions so I can get Florian to come back into the channel and maybe I have another Ask Me Anything. Let me know down in the comments below everything that you could have sustainable question to it, or that you just are curious about this project. With that said, enjoy the video and catch you later.
Okay, perfect. So here we are with Florian, the co-founder of the Nirian network. Thank you very much for coming along, and thank you very much for being here and for answering the community's question and explaining a little bit more what is your network, what everything does, how Nerian operates, and all the possible questions that a newbie could have or a expert within the nodes field could have. So I would just like to start off by asking, what is Nerian network, Nerian nodes, and how everything works in a basic level?
Yeah, definitely. Well, first of all, thank you for having me, Lorenzo. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's exciting to appear on my first podcast/AMA with the company Nerian Network. So a little bit about Nerian and what we're trying to achieve is, I think our motto is become master of your own data. That's our main vision that we would like to achieve, but it's a journey, right? So we try to make steps to get there, and ultimately we would like to deploy an application that puts users back in the control seat of their data. And we want to disrupt the advertising world, because there's a lot of a big budget going to advertising nowadays, and it's not really effective. People are spending a lot of money to get your attention, and you're annoyed because, first of all, your data is being used and exploited. You don't see anything in return, and you get annoying ads all the time. For example, if you're a vegetarian, you get ads for steaks, or if you don't want to go on vacation, you get ads for vacation, and that can be quite annoying. So what we aim to do is to connect the user and companies that want to advertise something in a direct dialogue, where users are also being rewarded for their data being shared. And we want to shift the focus of attention, like I just said, to retention, that companies have a direct dialogue and know what people want and can then compete for your retention and make the best offer for you available at that time. But to do that, we were thinking, how can we do that best in the world today? Because all the companies, we know fancy words like blockchain and Web3 and decentralized. But if we really go down very deep to the bottom, we still found some old ways of acting in the old worlds that we try to pivot away from. And we want to bring a coherent story. So we were thinking, if we deploy an application, we can't use the big technology that is around today because it undermines our whole vision. So yeah, let's do it ourselves and build a little database so we can build our applications on top of that. And that's how we came up with the notes that we launched last week, called the Genesis Notes. And basically what it does is, when people buy a note, they buy a license that grant them access to the rewards. And in the background, there will be real infrastructure run and generate real value and cloud capacity for our application to deploy upon.
Perfect. And talking about the, of course, the Genesis nodes and how they came along, I just want to pivot to one of the community questions where they gave us. And you were talking about to make the data collection and the internet decentralized. but you're also talking about running the nodes in one place, which means that they're gonna have a physical location or centralized, for so to say. And what happens if there would be a power shortage or something would happen to your location, to your physical real life location, and could potentially happen that either they go offline or they, being also machines, they could present problems and have a breakdown or something to be fixed. How could you take care of these problems, and how could you secure that it's not gonna affect a lot or in any way, shape, or form the node itself?
Yes, definitely. So yeah, we build a little database where we collect all the physical infrastructure to contribute to the bigger network, the bigger technology that we use. And it's a fact that the infrastructure itself will be centralized in a database, but the data won't. The data is spread all over the network. So if a node would go offline because of a power outage or something else, or maybe a fire in worst case scenario, that would be devastating to the infrastructure, but nothing would happen to the data because the data is spread across the network, and it's like just a little part of the network that goes offline, and then it's on Nerian to build new infrastructure and to put it there. But the data is safe at all times. The data is decentralized, the infrastructure is centralized, and we are just one super node, let's say, in a bigger network.
Okay, so you are taking all the responsibilities if it comes to it without affecting the users themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Then it comes down to insurance companies when something happens to the infrastructure. And then Nerian as a company can fix that, or
Okay,
could fix
perfect. Very, very clear on a solution for the problem. And talking about this, it is different from what other nodes out there are doing. We know a lot of them are simply join in, get their rewards until they last, and then either the liquidity is not being taken care of in the long run after the first pre-sale or the public sales.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these also have infinite nodes creation, for so to say. I know Nirian node, the Genesis nodes, they have a max of 100 nodes.
3,000.
3,000 nodes. So and you've already sold, how many have you sold? I saw the last time it was 50, more or less 50% within the first days of selling.
Yeah, well, I'll elaborate a bit on that. So we have a hard cap of 3,000 nodes. Well, maybe I should start with the beginning. With the model that we use is, like I said, we wanted to come up with a sustainable model and do something in a different way that we see value in, right? So we want to build real infrastructure. That's the main goal, because we need the network, the decentralized network, to deploy applications. And then we started thinking about different models. And then we thought, yeah, maybe a hard cap could be very interesting because it adds the element of scarcity in the network. So there's only 3,000 nodes that will ever be around. And if you are one of those 3,000, it works a bit like an NFT, let's say. Then you have one part of 3,000 nodes. And right now, because that's why you said 100 nodes probably, is the nodes will sell at the equivalent of $5,000, but then expressed in Nerian tokens. And that is for the first 100 nodes, meaning the first 100 nodes will cost you $5,000 paid in Nerian. But for every 100 nodes coming online, there will be an additional cost of 250. So the following 100 nodes will cost $5,250 expressed in Nerian, and then the following will cost $5,500 expressed in Nerian. So there is also a relatively small increase in price the more nodes come online to also add value to the network.
Okay, perfect. And go for it.
Yeah, sorry. And yeah, your last question was, I think we've sold around 48 nodes.
Okay.
at this moment. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And talking about the price, just to deep dive a little bit into it, you said that it's $5,000 equivalent to your token price, which of course, depending on the day, on the hour, it goes up and down like any other tokens. About this, would you, or how is your thoughts regarding the nodes to become or to be an NFT to then be able to transfer within users? What are your thoughts on it? And talking about the price, a lot of people potentially could not or cannot afford $5,000. Are you thinking in the longevity of the project to expand to fractional nodes, to have a pool where, let's say, either 10 people can put in 500 or 100 people can put in $50 to give everybody the opportunity to go and have a little bit of the taste of this project, to then maybe decide, okay, this is a big jump for me, but I do believe a lot in this project and I want to put a big portion of my portfolio into it?
Yes, definitely. Those are two very good questions. I can split them in two parts. So the first question, if I understand it right, is the NFT part of the node, and the second part of the question is the fractional nodes. So first, I covered the NFT part. Is what we plan to do is at some point we want to mint NFTs out of the licenses. So today, buying a node is like a lot of these other projects. It's a cost. You effectively put $5,000 and you give it to buy a license to operate a node, and they're gone. But what we want to do in the future is to mint NFTs out of them, to transfer them to an asset, a tradable asset, and that you can trade your node license as you please. That's the first thing, but that's also on the node roadmap. Further down the line, we're now focusing on expanding the network, and then later this year we can start thinking about minting NFTs. We would also like to use the XLS20 on the XRP ledger, but it's still not out, so we are looking around how we can do that in the best way possible. So that's the first part. And the second part, the fractional node pools. We are aware that $5,000 is quite steep for some investors, but that's the price that we need to run real infrastructure in the background, to buy those servers and to also operate them for several years. That's how we came up with the price of $5,000. But what we would like to do in the future as well, it's also in the node roadmap that you can find on our website, and the documentation about the nodes.
Which all the links will be down below, by the way, in the description, if anybody's interested to go and check it out. Safe links down below, don't go into any shady Google search links, which is better.
Yeah, that's a tricky part. That's good. Yeah, so the fractional nodes is that what we also would like to do before July, so Q3 of this year, we would like to launch fractional nodes to offer smaller parts of nodes to the community. The specific details of that we still have to figure out, but I think it will be 1/10 or maybe 1/20th of a node, so that people pay around $1,500 or maybe $250 for a node or a part of the node, and then the distribution of the rewards will also be equally divided with the amount that you put in.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that would be something that could interest a lot of people. That I think it's also a good point to bring if you're going to potentially take like a test, let's say, on an investment and then see how it works out. And therefore you say, okay, I would like to put more money into it, and you can go with this mechanism.
Exactly.
And another question that comes from the community that I would like to ask is, what steps will you take in terms of advertising and promotion and expansion? If you can give a little bit of insight, nothing too secret, just what would you do in expansion ways, and what are the obligations of being listed on a voluminous exchanges? Which is a primary expectation is that as many people as possible are aware of it for your protocol, for your network.
Yeah, definitely. So Nerian is still a small project, and we try to do everything in-house and work with the funds we have, and trying to do it our own way. So we have limited funds to do all these things, but we are in contact with several influencers, of course you as well, and we try to involve them in the project, and this way also spread the word towards the broader community. We also believe that if you have a good product, that it sells itself in the future. We are not a fan of shelling projects and then people FOMOing in and making stupid decisions. It's really our focus to inform the community why we do what we do, and what we want to change and what the vision is. And if you want to tag along and be part of the community, you're more than welcome. So yeah, we're still figuring out ways to get the word out. We have several podcasts coming up. We also do articles for different media. For example, on XRP, we have an article there. We also filmed a podcast yesterday with them. So that's a way that we try to bring the word out. And what was another question?
Is what are the obligation of being listed on a voluminous exchange?
Yes, yeah, exchanges are still very key in the building of an ecosystem. We are aware of that, but exchanges also cost a lot of money, so we have to be very selective in the exchanges that we choose, and we are in contact with several centralized exchanges. And we're looking into ways to list on more centralized exchanges in the future. I can't go into further detail about that, but we're definitely working on that.
And this is just a curiosity question that some people that are not creating projects could potentially have. And you talked about being cost of being listed. Could you let the community know what do you mean by this, or like what would be the upfront cost? Let's say not the price of it, not how much you're spending, but the motivation on the cost for being listed on an exchange.
On our end, or
yeah, on like if for example you are creating this network, this project. If somebody else, just on a side note, if somebody else would like to go and create or takes inspiration from you. But of course, this is something, for example, that myself, I did not know, even if I'm in the crypto world, that there are costs on being listed in an exchange. So if you could give a little breakdown on what, on your end, you're saying, of course, it is a little bit expensive.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's not a secret, I think, in the community that first of all, you always have to fund the exchange with your native token itself. That can go up to a value of $100,000 worth of your token, and depending on how big the exchange is, it can go up, of course. But I think the first entry centralized exchanges, they already cost 25-30 grand in USDT as a fee to be able to list there, and that goes up really fast. So if you go to I don't know exactly, so I don't want to call names, but if you go to top 20 exchanges, then you can pay 500 grand, even $1 million for listing fees, and you also need a good amount of volume in your own ecosystem. That's also something that we're trying to focus on, because our ecosystem is very young still. There's not a lot of liquidity, meaning that it's very hard for big amounts of money to go in and out the market seamlessly. And we're working on that as well. But to be able to list your token on a big exchange, you also need a big amount of volume.
Okay, thank you. This was something also new for me. I didn't know some of this information. And going to another question is, a lot of them asked, what is your upcoming plans? If you can give a little bit more on what, of course, there's the roadmap on the website, which can go and be seen, but do you have a little bit more special or not private that you cannot release, but interesting things coming down the line, or that you could have worked on in this days
Yes.
since the launch?
So, yeah, definitely. So our focus right now mainly is the infrastructure, the basic layer. We really want to have that right and in place for the further development of the company and our application. So that will take time, and that's the focus right now. And the roadmap, again, you can find in the links. We're looking to offer staking by July for tokens, so that you can stake your tokens also on our platform. You can stake your tokens, by the way, on Bitrue for 6%, which is nice. But we also want to offer it ourselves to incentivize people to hold the token. We also want to do the fractional notes before Q3 July. And then we work on liquidity, because that's very important. We work on next exchanges to be listed, and we believe that we will also expand the node network. That there will be more nodes coming online, more people being aware of the company and of the vision, what we're doing, so that our community will grow. And then later this year, by even the winter, Q3, Q4, we will start the development of our application, the advertisement platform.
Okay, and just one thing. These were the community questions that they came along on the Twitter post that we have made. I wanted to ask if there's any more feedbacks that you received from the community on your behalf that were not, for example, either mentioned on Twitter but said to you, or you received some, whether are good things, compliments, or something that the community is like, maybe this could be something to work on in the future.
Yeah, well, we have a very vibrant community. I really like what we've built together so far in a short amount of time. Nerian only exists since August, so that's only 8-9 months, if I'm correct. And we have a really nice community. Everybody is very helpful, very respectful. We also get challenged from time to time, which we really like. And we also think it's very important, because that way we can inform the community, and we also remain focused, and we think about things twice before we do them. So yeah, the community is open to everybody. You can join in the Discord, which is, I would say, the core community is very active there. Then we have Telegram. Telegram is a little smaller, but we try to answer all the questions that come up, and we try to be very responsive and transparent. That's the goal.
Okay, perfect. And yeah, I think those are the questions on my behalf. I wanted to take a little bit of a dive into a not an expert, a noob, for so to say, point of view. So you explained very well what's the difference between your project, your real life use cases, and other invest until the project dies kind of thing, to make money out of. And so that's very understanding on my behalf. And would you like to add anything to the session? Would you like to give any more thoughts on, or anything on your behalf?
No, I think we've covered everything, and I really had a good talk. I just want to say again that people are more than welcome to join the community, and in Discord, if they have questions regarding this podcast, or if they want to know more, or just hang around and see what Nerian is all about, they're more than welcome to join. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so for those who have made it until the end, of course, as I said at the beginning, all the links are down below, and make sure to use them. And please do not make some shady searches online, because I assume there's gonna be wannabes and people that pretends to be you, like any other project, just to scam people. And yeah, just as a thing to be careful, if you are on this project, and if you go and join the Telegram and their Discord, do not answer to any DMs that got sent to you by their name or on behalf of them, because we all know that if you have a problem, you ask on the community, they will not come up to you and be like, hey, what's the problem? So just make sure about that. Do not give any fake information. It's an upcoming and very young project, and therefore there will be people trying to make money and scamming you, so be careful on that. But yeah, I hope everything was answered, and if you have any more questions to all of the community, just let me know down below in the comments and we can send them over and maybe have a second podcast, or just follow them on Twitter. They will put all the updates there, and on Discord, Telegram, all the links will be down below, of course.
Yeah, it would be really nice to do a follow-up in a certain months from now, maybe by the summer, to see how far we've come of what we've done in the meantime, and that would be really nice.
Perfect, sounds amazing.
Thank you for having me, Lorenzo.
Oh, thank you for being here. This was also my first podcast, by the way, so I think it's a first for everybody. But yeah, it was interesting.
Okay, so this was the Ask Me Anything. It was my first Ask Me Anything as well. Let me know down in the comments if you would like to see another one, or with who, if you have any other suggestions, or with Nirian. Let me know if you have any other question. Let me know down in the comments below. With that said, thank you for watching, and I will see you all in tomorrow's video. Ciao, guys.